And hello, Facebook world. So I have you both here. I'll try to look at you both as we go, but I'm excited to get to share this time with you and share some information. As many of you know, I have recently given birth for the third time, so I've been really excited to share this with you guys from just fresh eyes, and this is my third child. So yeah, it's definitely fresh on my mind and something I'm very passionate to share with you guys. So hey everyone on Facebook, so glad to see you jumping in live over here. We're gonna go ahead and get started. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Lizzie Chacon. I am the heart behind Flora Simple Wellness, and I'm a mom of three. I have an almost 6-year-old, an almost 4-year-old, and I have an 8-week-old. So that's kind of the all-consuming life right now, which is great. This is such a special season, and yeah, that's the part of life that I'm in. I know that many of you who are jumping in live are in a similar situation, with just in the throes of motherhood, and it's a really special season of life. We have our hands really full, and we can use all the support that we can get. So I'm excited to share with you some things that have really, really helped me through this process of early motherhood, and the ways that it supported me and how to use them effectively and safely. So I am also a certified plant-based nutritionist. I'm based out of Atlanta. I know some of you are tuning in from other cities and other countries as well, which is exciting. So good to be here together with you guys, both on Instagram and Facebook. And so yeah, I have just recently, 8 weeks ago, given birth my third time. And in terms of essential oils, I had my first child. I had never even heard of essential oils, was not all familiar with what they were, how they worked, how they could help me. And the reason I was actually introduced to essential oils is because after giving birth for the first time, I had really, really significant knee pain after I had given birth, maybe 2 or 3 weeks after giving birth. I just really started to have a lot of pain that I was dealing with. I couldn't even walk through a grocery store for 15 minutes without having really significant pain. And if I would stay on my feet and keep at it for whatever reason, running errands or cleaning my house or just the simple day-to-day things, it was really, really debilitating. And a friend of mine offered some essential oils to me. She said, "Have you ever heard of them?" And I said, "No, I don't really know what that means." So she explained to me what an essential oil is, and I'll go over that in just a minute. But she ended up giving me a blend of essential oils that were supposed to fight pain. And at the time, my pain was so significant, I was taking like 4 ibuprofen multiple times a day just to survive the pain. That's what it felt like. It was so significant. I was just trying to get by. So the idea of essential oils out of a little tiny bottle, sample bottle that she gave it to me in, was almost insulting, but I was so desperate. I was like, I'll try anything at this point that's safe for me and my baby, because I was also breastfeeding. So I also had to consider the health of my child, and I couldn't just be popping crazy pills or thinking, I didn't know how significant it was going to be, but I even went to a doctor and asked if I needed surgery or something like that. And turns out for me, it's just a symptom of pregnancy, basically a postpartum symptom for me of that relaxin being still in my body, the joints trying to move back, to where they were, hormone changes, all that stuff. So this is now my third pregnancy, and each time I've had the same experience of pain afterwards. However, after this first time, now that I've had essential oils in my arsenal of tools to address it with, it's been a total game changer, and I'm just so thankful. So that's why I have to share it with you guys, because it's helped me so much. So just to complete that story, the oils that I tried, like I said, I had been popping multiple ibuprofen several times a day just to get by. And when after my friend gave me that little sample bottle, I had the pain flare up again, and I rubbed a couple drops, 2, maybe 3 drops of that oil blend on my knee. And I think I cried actually with joy, because I got relief that I had not experienced before that. So I just rubbed the oils on, and within, I know it was less than 3 minutes, it may have even been less than a single minute, I felt relief start to come, and it really it blew my mind. I had no idea that something that was natural could help me in that way. So that started the journey for me of just really my eyes being open to the world of essential oils and what they could do to support our bodies and our families and our health overall. So that's kind of what got me into it. So I do, because, you know, I am a certified plant-based nutritionist, a lot of what I do is around nutrition and essential oil coaching. I help people find natural ways to choose a healthier lifestyle than where they are, to take that next step forward and to incorporate natural tools that can be used safely and effectively, like essential oils. Essential oils are a huge part of it because there's such a broad spectrum of plants on this earth that offer essential oils. And the essential oil of the plant is actually the part that helps protect it as it grows in different stages. So you can take an essential oil from the stem, from the root, from the leaf, from the flower of many of these plants that do have essential oils. And they all have different constituents. They all protect the plant in different ways from environmental threats, like other animals coming, you know, the animals that would want to eat that plant and, you know, just basically wipe it off the earth if they were all eaten up. Those animals don't like the smell of the essential oil, or the actual constituents within the essential oil will protect it from the sun being too harsh on its leaves or on the flower petals, and that helps protect it from, you know, being destroyed by the sun. So anyway, different environmental threats pose a different risk to the plant, and the essential oil is its primary protection, which is really amazing. So then we can, as organic people, we can use those oils to protect our bodies in the same way. Our bodies recognize the oil and know what to do with it because it is recognizable to our body. It's an organic compound, just like vegetables minister to our bodies in a certain way. The plant oils also really impact our bodies in a certain way. Our bodies recognize it, know how to use it, what to do with it, and it goes to work for us within seconds of being applied to our bodies or inhaled or whatever. And I'll tell you in just a minute about the different ways to use oils. But when I first was introduced to oils, I had a great experience. But unfortunately, my experiences were really inconsistent. With that particular brand of essential oils, and I didn't know the difference between one brand or another because I was brand new to oils, my experiences were sometimes helpful and sometimes I just really didn't feel anything. And from bottle to bottle, it was different. And I didn't know why. I just thought that's how it was. And there may have been factors in my body that made it inconsistent as well. But I came to learn over time. And after trying probably a dozen different brands, I would just pull some off the shelf at the health food store because the bottle said 100% pure, or it even said therapeutic grade, or it even said organic. What I didn't realize at the time was that there is no regulating body over the essential oil industry. So you can put really whatever you want on the label of the bottle and get away with it. It's scary and really unfortunate that so many companies are just seeing the opportunity to make money off of something that we're finally coming back to as a society. And because using plants as medicine is not new. That goes back centuries, since probably the beginning of man on earth. But we're coming back to that, and so companies are seeing that's an opportunity to make money, and so they will make the cheapest oil they can possibly make that smells like the oil you would expect. So like you can take a bottle of lavender, and it has been tested in labs. They can actually test all of the constituents that are in that bottle of oil, and we'll find out that there's, you know, a synthetic version of lavender, because that can be created really easily now. Just like we scent our lotions and perfumes, those are scented synthetically. Those are not actually plant oils most of the time. It's very rare that you would actually find a true essential oil in a scented lotion or something like that. And so, as you know, I've seen test results from most of the brands on the market, at least the big ones, and 98% of the time, I'll say 95, but I think it's probably more like 98% of the time, that bottle of oil has been adulterated in some way. It's synthetic and has no true essential oil in it, or it is highly diluted. If it does have true essential oil in it, it is highly, highly diluted to keep it cheap. Because when you see a little bottle on the shelf, you think you need to pay a little price for it. But actually, the process of growing a plant organically, where it's not just treated with any chemical, pesticides, herbicides, anything like that, protecting the plant and planting it and growing it in the region where it was meant to be grown, because that makes a big difference. The climate actually makes a huge difference. The soil, the rain, amount, the sun, all of that stuff impacts where plants will grow naturally. So like if I take a plant that's meant to grow in the Middle East and I plant it in my backyard here, it may grow, but it's not going to have the same chemical constituents inside of it that it would in the soil and the rain and the sun and the environment that it would grow in naturally in the Middle East. In order to do that process, there's a cost to that. That's not free. It's not cheap. So when you see a little bottle of oil, know that that is extremely concentrated. For example, 1 drop of a true peppermint essential oil could make you the equivalent of 13 cups of peppermint tea. So that's the concentration we're talking about in a little bottle. For that reason, you really only need 1 drop of essential oil, typically 1 to 2 drops for a serving size. So when you know that there's like 250 drops in a 15 ml bottle of essential oil, you realize that's 250 servings or experiences that you'll have with the oil. So if a drop of lavender costs like 8 cents, and it helps you to sleep through the night, or it helps to heal a burn that you have on your skin, that's nothing price-wise, and it'll last you a long time. So just consider that as you're looking at the prices of oils. You'll see them all over the place. I've even seen them in the gas station. I've seen them at the mall. I've seen them at like Best Buy. It's like, what is Best Buy selling essential oils for? That's like wellness, and Best Buy is, just things like that. It's like, something's not quite aligned here. So just pay attention where you see it. If it looks really cheap, it probably is really cheap. And if you're wanting more than just a nice smell, you're going to want it to be true plant oil. So just keep that in mind. So when I discovered doTERRA essential oils, I was introduced to them after I had already tried a dozen other brands. And the reason that I have stuck to doTERRA for the past 3 years now is that I, after having all those inconsistent experiences with other brands, when I tried doTERRA, I realized that my experiences were more powerful and consistent. One bottle from another, I had consistent experiences. And I came to realize over time, the reason that is because of the adulteration, because of the dilution, because the plants were not being grown from other companies. The plants are not actually growing in the region that it is indigenously grown. So like lavender grown in the middle of the United States will not have the same therapeutic impact as lavender grown in France, for example. So that's why I was having inconsistent experiences with the other brands, and that's why I stuck with doTERRA. Also because the purity is a big deal. When an oil is diluted, or if there's any synthetic ingredients put in a bottle of essential oil from companies trying to make it cheap and trying to make it smell a certain way, that is so highly concentrated. Just like I said, if 1 drop of peppermint, true peppermint, can make 13 cups of peppermint tea, that level of flavor, that level of impact, imagine how highly concentrated the oil is with chemicals included in it. And you do not want to be allowing highly concentrated chemicals onto your body, onto your skin. Heaven forbid you ingest it, while a pure peppermint oil that just came straight from the peppermint leaf, that's perfectly safe to ingest. So just keep that in mind when you're choosing your oils. That makes a really big difference where it comes from. So that's why I decided to choose doTERRA. They have set the standard on potency and purity. That's really something that they are passionate to, not just passionate, that's really their call. They have set the bar. The standard is certified pure therapeutic grade, and that is, the organic standard is here, certified pure therapeutic grade also considers the where the oils have come from, so the constituents or the compounds that are in a pure essential oil when it's grown where it grows indigenously, where there is no contamination from any kind of other chemical. So there's no pesticides, there's no herbicides, and also the distillation process. A lot of other companies are using chemicals to distill an essential oil, which pollutes it. doTERRA uses either cold pressing or steam distillation. So we can trust, because I can show you why you can trust it, but doTERRA is actually so upfront with their purity and potency standards that you can take your bottle of essential oil, and there's a number on the bottom of it, on the bottom of every single bottle, and it's different, but you can go to a website that's called source2u.com, and you can type in that bottle number. It's like a code associated with that liter of essential oil, and you can see where it came from, when it was distilled, where it was distilled, what the test results were. So GCMS testing, they go through 7 levels of testing before they get bottled. So that's the reason I trust doTERRA. They are so transparent with what is in their bottle. I trust them as a company, and that's why I've decided to align myself with them in this way. So all things to consider when you're getting essential oil. All essential oils are not the same. Also, another thing, as you see warnings for, hey, be careful, like this topic today is about pregnancy, labor, and delivery. So be careful. Don't use essential oils when you're pregnant. You'll hear that sometimes. They're not talking about pure plant oil. That have been researched and that are safe and that are actual pure plant oils. They're talking about oils that you'll pull off the shelf that actually have probably little to no true essential oil in it, or at least are polluted and contaminated with other fillers and dilutants. So as you see warnings, because you will, if you try to Google essential oils in pregnancy, you will probably find a slew of warnings, and that's the reason. They're warning you because you should be extremely careful if you're pulling an oil off the shelf, because you do not know what's in that bottle. That is why doTERRA is so forthcoming and so transparent about what goes in their bottle, because they have to be. With good intentions to be a long-lasting essential oil and wellness provider, and doTERRA is actually opening up medical institutions that will be a combination, a marriage of both natural health as well as the modern conventional doctors and treatments. They will be able to prescribe medication, but they will also use the natural resources that we have, such as essential oils, as the first line of defense when it's appropriate. So that's where doTERRA is. That's where their heart is. That's why I've aligned myself with doTERRA. So I had to address that first, because not all oils are the same. So be very intentional about being sure what's in your bottle. And the only way that I found to do that is to look at the actual test results from that bottle of oil. And doTERRA makes that so easy. That's the way to go, in my opinion. So that's what I'll say about that. So what is an essential oil? I've already kind of addressed this a little bit, but it's just pure plant matter. The essential oil is the defense system in the plant that it comes from. It protects them from environmental threats from other animals that need to not consume them. Of course, animals are going to consume plants, and they should, but the animals that would actually eliminate that kind of plant species, they are not attracted to that plant because of the smell, and God just decided that. It's amazing. So that line of defense that it plays for the plant can also play in our bodies. Our bodies recognize it, can utilize it really quickly and really effectively. So huge plus for getting to use pure plant matter in our bodies, just like vegetables, like a head of broccoli, like a salad, like something fresh out of the garden is so nurturing to our bodies. Essential oils are another part of the plant that just really play a really valuable role safely and effectively in our bodies for a number of different things, for protection, like and supporting our immune system, as well as for other kinds of support that we'll get into in just a second. So in terms of the safety, I am only, when I'm talking today about essential oils, I'm only talking about doTERRA essential oils. Nothing that I'm saying today will I apply to another brand of oils, because I don't know what's in that bottle. I don't know where it came from. I don't know what the testing has been on it. You just don't know what's in the bottle. You don't. So I'm only talking about doTERRA oil, so I'm talking today. And so a couple of ways that we use essential oils in general. First is aromatic. That's the way that most of us are most familiar with. So that can be as simple as opening your bottle and just taking a smell straight out of the top of the bottle. And in doing this, essential oils are aromatic compounds that evaporate really quickly, so they float into the air. And our limbic system is like our emotional brain, and it helps us to remember, to make decisions, to feel. And our limbic system is directly impacted by an essential oil. It can go straight into that part of our brain and help us to make decisions, to remember, to process things. So even just swelling it straight out of the bottle is a really practical way to use it. Another way you can use it aromatically is in a diffuser, which is this little guy right here. So all you do, this is not a burner, it's not a nebulizer, but it simply puts water and a few drops of essential oil mixed together, and it sends it into the air over an extended period of time, or however long you want to use it. And that's a really effective way to not only get your own personal experience with oils, but also to impact your whole house or the whole room that you're in or the whole area. So I love my diffusers. I have them going day and night at my house. I have one in every room of the house, even the bathrooms. They're incredible. They're an incredible support to fill the room, not only for the scent, but for the therapeutic benefit as well. So aromatic is the first way. Second way is topically. So that can be as simple as just putting a drop in your hand, rubbing it together. And, you know, if something is hurting or if something is needing soothing, you know, put it where it hurts, you know, and you can use an essential oil topically. I often recommend, especially if you're pregnant or if you're brand new to oils, that you always dilute. My favorite way to dilute essential oils is with a liquid coconut oil. doTERRA offers that as well. It's called fractionated coconut oil. That just means they took out an ion, and that keeps that liquid all the time. So we can always have a liquid available. It doesn't leave a greasy residue. But dilution is a great way to get started with oils. And also, if you're pregnant, it's great to always start off diluting your oil so that your body can, you know, let you know. Your body will tell you if it's not jiving with an oil, but take it slow, be wise about it as you get started. So that's topical use. And the third way is internal use. So just like you might see a fresh jug of water that has like cucumber slices and mint leaves in it, what's actually coming out of the mint that's so flavorful is the essential oil from the leaf. So if I put, you know, a drop of an oil into a cup of water, that's a great way to enjoy it internally. Some oils I'll put, you know, straight on my tongue and just swallow it that way, like a peppermint or something like that. Or you can even get a little empty veggie capsule. So an empty capsule, you just open it, put a drop or two in, and then close it and swallow it that way. That's a great way to get internal benefit. And the reason that's super beneficial is because sometimes we need oil support straight to our digestive system. So getting it down into our body that way that's kind of like putting it where it hurts on your body. You need that internal support. It's great for supporting inflammation, a healthy inflammatory response, because overinflammation really causes chronic disease, autoimmune disease, things like that. So being able to support, you know, healthy inflammatory response. Sometimes the flavor is great. Like I put citrus oils in my water and sip on them throughout the day, and I get cleansing benefits from that. It helps me drink more water because it's delicious. Energizing, like through peppermint and stuff like that. There's a lot of good reasons to use oils internally. The one thing I would say is that there's not a whole lot of research yet. It's happening now. We're gathering data now, but there's not a whole lot of published research about using oils internally and its impact on pregnancy. In the database of negative feedback of something negative happening during pregnancy because of internal use of essential oils, a true essential oil, there's no reports up to now. So there's no reports of like miscarriage being associated with internal use of oils or anything like that. So I'll tell you that from my own personal experience, I did use oils internally on occasion through my pregnancy when I felt like it was just the best way to get support, and that was the safest option that I felt was safest through that process. So like I had a few encounters with some significant sickness around me, or even when I was starting to feel a sickness come on, like, oh no, my throat hurts so much, I know that I'm getting sick. I felt like, for myself, it was the safest and most effective way for me to address that sickness or to protect myself from significant illness around me. So I used some immune support oils internally while I was pregnant. A lot of people choose not to do that, and that's totally fine. You do what you're comfortable with. You can also use oils very effectively and in greatly supportive ways, topically and aromatically, so don't feel like you have to do that. A lot of people choose not to for that reason, and I did it for the most part just for that immune support when I felt like I really needed it. All right, let's get into the pregnancy-specific stuff. So again, if you Google essential oils in pregnancy, you'll find a whole bunch of warnings, and just consider those are not regarding pure plant matter. Those are regarding where we are as an industry, an essential oil industry right now in the, probably the research you're going to find is in the US if you're searching from here. So, like Europe has been using essential oils much longer than we have. It's much more common there. They have different regulations there than we do, but if you search from here in the States, you're probably going to find local research come up. So just keep that in mind. But here's something that we do know. Essential oils are not typically going to force a change in your body like a synthetic medication could. So if you're prescribed something, that could actually really intentionally force a change in your body. For example, if we are not in labor and it seems that our pregnancy is really needing to come to an end for one reason or another, sometimes there's just to the baby or to the mother, or sometimes it looks like your body's just not supporting the baby as it needs to anymore, because our bodies and like the placenta is only designed really for about 40 to 42 weeks of pregnancy. So for example, if you go and you're at 42 weeks, even if you're using a naturally minded midwife, they will likely say to you, hey, we got to get this moving. That was the story of my second pregnancy. I was told, like, hey, if you're not in labor, like tomorrow, you need to come in the bag pack because we got to get this on the road, because I was losing fluid. Those organs that are created, like the placenta that's created specifically for that pregnancy, it's only designed to last for so long and to, actually operate at an optimal function for so long. So thankfully, I went into labor that next morning and I didn't have to do anything like Pitocin. But Pitocin would actually force my body to make a change that it may or may not be ready for. So that would have actually forced an induction of labor in my body most of the time. Obviously, there's exceptions, but an essential oil is not typically going to force a change in your body, but rather to empower it and support it in doing what it's naturally trying to do. But with that said, there are some oils that are extremely effective in helping initiate and strengthen contractions. So these are oils that are very effective when it's time to give birth. But until that point earlier on in your pregnancy, you do not want to tell your body to start contracting, because we don't want to do anything that might, cause your body to start thinking labor too early, right? So things to avoid earlier in pregnancy would be oils such as jasmine, clary sage, cassia, cinnamon. Those are because those are known to help initiate the contracting process. Another one that I would avoid in pregnancy is wintergreen, because chemically wintergreen is basically the plant version of aspirin. So it's extremely effective in like pain relief, just like aspirin would be. But because aspirin is something that we have studied and need to, or are told to avoid during pregnancy, they're so similar chemically, I would tell you go ahead and avoid wintergreen for the same reasons during pregnancy. Now, when it comes to time to go into labor and give birth, at that time, when it is, talk to your doctor, your OB, your midwife about this. But when the time is right, these are things that can be used very effectively and safely to support you through that part of the process, when it's like baby is safe to come out, uterus is safe to contract, and wintergreen is extremely effective in pain relieving. That was part of that essential oil blend that I first used on my knees that was so effective for me. It's incredible. But, check with your doctor and midwife to make sure that it's a good thing for you at that time. But because of that reason, avoid it early on in pregnancy. But things to use during pregnancy, so looking in a proactive way toward what we can use. Let's talk about some of the main symptoms that we have in pregnancy, because those can be really, really effectively treated with essential oils, such as nausea. So nausea, starting from the beginning of the pregnancy, many of us deal with those feelings of nauseousness, an upset stomach, even, some like indigestion and stuff like that. So for nausea, ginger is super effective. That's historically a great digestive aid and support. So think about ginger when you need that digestive support, when you're nauseous. And if you hate the smell of it, you can potentially use it internally if that's something you're comfortable with, or even you can put it on the bottom of your feet and then just put socks on over it, because the bottoms of our feet have really large pores that can very effectively soak it in and give you full support throughout your body using that oil. So, if any of these are a smell you hate, think about putting it on the bottom of your feet and then putting socks on, so you don't actually have to have it near your nose. So ginger's great. Peppermint is great. Peppermint was my go-to. Peppermint is very well known for calming the digestive system, and it was really effective for me with my nausea as well. Lemon as well. Lemon's a great one. It's a nice, fresh, clean scent. So a lot of women who are sensitive to a lot of different smells, like I was early on in my pregnancy especially, lemon was a very friendly oil that I was comfortable diffusing and applying topically. And I even, I think I used it internally once or twice when the nausea was just super intense and I needed to get some hydration in me. So I put it in my water, and it helped me a lot. So if you're feeling heartburn or indigestion, heartburn specifically where you feel that burning sensation, a lot of women feel that, especially later in their pregnancy. For my first pregnancy, that third trimester was brutal for me with heartburn. I couldn't fall asleep at night. I couldn't wake up in the night, even in the middle of the day. If I had anything acidic, even like tomatoes or tomato sauce or coffee or chocolate, I love all of those things, but they just, my heartburn was really, really intense during that third trimester. And so one thing you can avoid if you want to, if heartburn is the issue, is peppermint, because peppermint actually relaxes I think it's called a sphincter, that actually contains the acid and keeps it from coming up into your throat normally. And peppermint can relax that, and you don't want it relaxed. You want it to be strong and blocking anything from coming back up into your throat, because that's what causes the burning sensation. So avoid the peppermint, but things you can use are ginger, again, is really effective. And also using a probiotic. doTERRA offers a really great supplement system that I use every single day. My whole family does. But they have a great probiotic if you don't already have one that you're using. Another benefit of taking the probiotic is that most pregnancies here in the US now are tested for GBS or strep B. And I tested positive for strep B my first two pregnancies, and I was completely uneducated on what probiotic was or what it would do for me. But then in this third pregnancy, I was told, well, up your probiotic intake, which I was already taking at that time. But she said, up your probiotic intake through your pregnancy, and that will probably regulate that growth of bacteria. It's an overgrowth of a normal bacteria that can potentially be dangerous for the baby. So that's what they're testing for with the strep B. And she said, if you up your probiotic intake, that will probably regulate it so that it's not an issue when it comes time to give birth. And that's exactly what happened. For the first time ever, I tested negative for the strep B. So that was awesome. I highly recommend using doTERRA's probiotic. They have one called PB Assist. And it is double encapsulated, so it gets all the way into the part of your digestive tract where you need it to be to help with that healthy, positive, the good bacteria to grow and thrive and flourish in there. So that's something. And another thing is just taking a high quality supplement system or multivitamin. Most women know that they're supposed to take a prenatal vitamin while they're pregnant, and you absolutely should. But something I didn't know always was that not every supplement is the same, and something that you pull off the shelf at Kroger is not going to be necessarily of a quality or of a bioavailability, so something your body can actually break down and use. Not all supplements are equal. That's what I'm trying to say. So just consider that, just look into it. Look into what's in your supplement system, your multivitamin, your prenatals, and make sure that you're taking something that's of high quality. If you have questions about that, please ask me. I would love to talk to you individually about that. And you're also welcome to post questions here in the comments. A lot of women want to have more personal one-on-one conversations when it comes to pregnancy stuff, because some of it is just a little bit delicate and they would rather talk privately. So just, write a comment or send me a private message and we'll make a time to chat about that as well. Or we can message back and forth on Facebook. That's good too. On Instagram, you can either send me a private message or you can jump over to Facebook, or you can email me always at Lizzie, Lizzy, at FloridaSimpleWellness.com. But anyway, that's just a side note. If you have any questions about this or anything else, we can talk about your specific situation, because everyone's is different. And even for the same woman, no two pregnancies are the same. So we all have pregnancy questions as we go, even if it's our 8th or 10th pregnancy. None of them are going to be the same. So never hesitate to ask. It's a big deal, and we all need support in that process. So all right, so let's talk about energy, because a lot of us lose sleep during our pregnancy and are just feeling run down. And if we're not getting enough sleep, we're not energetic the next day. And so oils through pregnancy that can be really supportive to that are peppermint, for one, is very energizing and uplifting, and all of the citrus oils. So lemon, grapefruit, and wild orange are some of my favorites. But there's actually a lot of data research out there about how citrus oils and peppermint can be really supportive. So you can put them together in the diffuser. That was one of my favorite ways to use them. Or sometimes I would just love to take a couple of drops of wild orange, rub them together in my hand, take deep breaths, and then rub them on my belly, or wherever you had extra. And that was really uplifting and supporting. And then skin issues. So a lot of us have breakouts happen, like pregnancy acne, they might call it, during the process of pregnancy. As our hormones are changing, it's like we're going through puberty all over again. And then after you give birth, it happens all over again for a lot of us. So if you're having skin issues, if you want to actually address like an eruption on your skin, I love Melaleuca, which is tea tree oil. It is super, super effective for going straight on and dealing with it. It's so antiviral and antifungal, and it just has such supporting and cleansing properties in it. It's really, really effective for that. But to help support your body to be able to process the hormonal changes, water, hydrate, just overhydrate. That's something necessary for your pregnancy, for your baby, for your own body, for cleansing, for digestive support, and for your skin as well. I mean, water, just overhydrate. The base level recommendation for hydration when you're not pregnant is half your body weight pounds in ounces of water. So if you weigh 200 pounds, 100 ounces of water would be like the baseline recommendation. And that's when you're not pregnant. So think that, and then go above and beyond if you at all can. So hydrate to support your skin. And also, if you have a healthy gut, think probiotics and a good, efficient multivitamin system. And by the way, the prenatals that I took are actually the same vitamins that I take every day anyway, pregnant or not. So it's called the Lifelong Vitality Pack. It's 3 different bottles that have 3 different roles. One's the multivitamin, one is cellular support, one is like your omegas and fatty acids, stuff like that. So it's like a whole system, and they're not micro compressed. So it's not like a one a day. I don't just pop one and that's it, because when you compress down supplements that much, it actually damages the integrity of the vitamin itself. So if you're popping a one a day, I just really consider what's in it and what's no longer living in it by the time it comes to you dry, compressed in that form. So again, if you want to have a conversation about multivitamins and supplements, let me know, and we can talk about that and your specific needs, and I can let you know what I've used that's helpful, or if I don't know an answer, I'll point you to someone that does. So, but yeah, that will also help with the skin issues. Another big thing, hot topic for pregnant mamas, is sleep. We struggle to sleep, especially at the end of our pregnancy. It's hard to just move or stand up or roll over. And then especially if you have other kids in the picture, then you've got to care for their needs as well as your own body's needs and your baby in your belly. So sleep is a challenge. I would say do your best to create a nighttime routine to wind down before bed, to signal to your body that it's time to go to sleep. And for a lot of us, going to sleep is not the trouble, but staying asleep is. So that is one time when a diffuser comes in super handy, because I just turn on my diffuser and it is going all night. I can set it for, there's different diffusers, and depending on their capacity and their settings and everything, they can go for different amounts of time. But there's diffusers that can go for up to 5, 8, 10, or even 12 hours. So I'll set mine for 10 and 12 hours. And it's going through the night and supporting my body even while I'm sleeping, and that helps me to stay asleep. And then sometimes I would wake up because of muscle cramps. So your body is sending nutrition to your baby, and sometimes that means that we're lacking nutrition for things like potassium and magnesium. Sometimes our bodies are just not absorbing it as well, and they're taking everything that you have and giving it to your baby, which is great. That's how God designed it, but it makes it harder on our bodies during that process. So a banana a day, for one thing, unless your doctor tells you otherwise. That helped me a lot with muscle cramping. Like those Charlie horses that'll just like grab you in the middle of the night, that was killer for me through my first 2 pregnancies. But with this one, it was much better, and I think a lot of that is because of my supplements changing, because I'm now on the full Lifelong Vitality Pack, and I'm doing the banana a day. I just blend it into my smoothie in the morning, and that was easy and quick. But if you wake up with a muscle cramp, which I still did a handful of times, I kept marjoram and lavender and frankincense by my bedside. And I would just, sometimes you wake up kind of in panic and in a hurry because it hurts you all of a sudden from when you were sleeping. And I would just put a drop of each and put it in my hands and just rub it right on the muscle that was hurting. And within seconds, it would relax it. So those are some of my favorites. Another great one for relaxing your muscles is Copaiba. Keep that one in mind as well. And so, yeah, those are my best for sleep. So some of the ones that I would diffuse for sleep, I didn't actually tell you what I would diffuse specifically, but lavender is great. There's tons and tons of research on lavender being super supportive while pregnant, and there's plenty of research obviously on lavender in general when you're not pregnant. So lavender is a great support to either apply topically or diffuse through the night. doTERRA lavender you can actually also take internally. That's not something I would recommend trying maybe for the first time while you're pregnant, but you can actually take it. It doesn't taste great to me. Some people put lavender in their tea and stuff, but I would sometimes, if I really, really need an extra kick to get to sleep, I would put in a capsule and take it internally. But anyway, this is a pregnancy class, so we'll focus on that. Just wanted to give that disclaimer. But the diffusing oils would be lavender. doTERRA has a blend called Serenity, which is super, super soothing. The name says it all, really. It's amazing. Serenity is also a great like wind down oil blend. So if you put Serenity in your diffuser like 30 minutes before you're trying to get in bed, that will help signal your brain and your body to relax into sleep. And then if you're diffusing through the night, it helps you stay asleep as well, because your body's breathing it in and getting the benefits into your limbic system, and you don't even have to think about it or apply anything else. So that's great. Another great one is marjoram. That's super relaxing. So that's great for relaxing the muscles topically, and it's also great for relaxing your whole body through the limbic system and the brain. Another one that's great is the Breathe blend. And it's got things like eucalyptus in it that are super great for opening up your airways. So that's my go-to for any kind of sickness, congestion. It also helps my husband not to snore so much. So that one I diffuse every single night right by his side of the bed. So that's another plus of that. But that just opening up your airways and helping relax all that goes into your breathing system, that's a huge help for sleep for a lot of us as well. So consider that. Another one that's a great support is frankincense, and that's a great support for not only relaxing, but also emotional support. So there's so many ups and downs in pregnancy, hormonally and otherwise. Getting that emotional support is really great too. So those are some of my favorites for nighttime. If you're feeling like you need some extra immune system support during the daytime, On Guard is amazing, but it also has cinnamon in it, and that's one of those that we have to just be careful with. It's so diluted in the On Guard blend. I did diffuse it while I was pregnant, and I've never had any issues with it. But if you'd like to avoid it altogether during pregnancy, consider using Arbor Vitae instead. That's from a tree that grows in Canada natively. It's referred to as the tree of life because it has so many amazing medicinal properties, and it's been revered for centuries for its value to the body and to the emotions as well. So Arbor Vitae is a great immune support oil as well. So I diffuse that almost every night in either my room or the kids' room or both. So just consider that if you're, especially right now in this season, surrounded by sick people and lots of germs, and it's just a great one. It smells amazing to me. It's a tree oil, so it's really grounding as well. So those are some of my favorites for sleep. Similarly, if you're dealing with prenatal anxiety, like if you're feeling anxious about what this change in your life is going to be like, which we all do. So if you're feeling alone in that, please don't. And please just tell a friend who's gone through, pregnancy and giving birth. Tell them what you're feeling. Reach out to me. You're not alone in those feelings of anxiety or concern, or just the anxiety of preparing a space for that child in your home and in your life. That's actually one of my favorite things to help with. So if you're at all feeling those feelings and you don't have a close friend who you would like to talk with about that, please reach out to me. I would just love to connect with you about that. As kind of a side note, but that's really important that you have support in that. Don't feel alone as we start to feel like an island, and especially like if you're having a baby during the winter months, you might feel even more lonely because you're having to come in, spend so much time with your baby, spend so much more time at home, you're feeding so frequently. All of these things combined can really make you feel very lonely, and I think that really can contribute to like postpartum depressed feelings that can come up for a lot of us. So don't be an island, don't be alone. Please reach out, and if you have someone that you can trust with how you're feeling, how you're really like real raw feeling, reach out to them. And if you don't, please reach out to me, and I can support you in the ways that I'm able and connect you with our community. If you're not yet already enrolled in our doTERRA community, in our Floreo essential oil community, we have a really great support system and a whole group of people who are in a similar season of life to you, and who are interested in caring for their body and their family and their home naturally. So that's one just benefit of enrolling into our community, is that you have that support system. So no one should be alone in this. We all need help. We all need support. And you do not have to go through this alone. So I just want you to feel supported in that way as well. So if you're having feelings of anxiety, some of the support tools that we can use are, again, the Serenity Blend is amazing. Lavender just by itself, like if you enrolled with the top 10 oils, which several of the doTERRA kits come with the top 10 oils at a discount. Lavender, if you don't have Serenity, lavender there's so much research on lavender being a very powerful support for that. The Serenity Blend has lavender as well as several other relaxing and supportive oils for that. And Serenity can be used during the daytime as well. Don't think that these are only nighttime use. If you're feeling anxious or stressed or overwhelmed, both of those, lavender and Serenity, are really great go-to oils. Frankincense is another one that I love for that kind of support for anxiety or even depressed feelings as well. And another great one for anxiety is the Balance Blend, and that has some really unique oils in it that are really well known for just grounding you. So oftentimes anxiety comes from just too many things pulling at us at one time, or from just the unknown of what's coming, and having that grounding experience through the oils can be so very helpful. Just a lifesaver. And if you're a mom already and you're expecting another child, just have balance in your home. Trust me, have balance in your home. It's such a great help. There's also a children's version of the Balance Blend, so it's formulated to be just a little bit more gentle on a child's skin, and it's pre-diluted in a roller bottle, so it's ready to use. It's called Steady. Have those in your home when you have kids. It's so very helpful and supportive. And it's so safe and effective. And if you don't want to throw prescription medications at your kids for being crazy, because children are crazy, all of us were, and all of them are, just have these oils on hand. They're so helpful. You can't say enough good things about them. I use them all day, every day. But so those are a few great ones for anxiety. And if Postpartum depression is something that you are concerned about dealing with or are already in that season of life and are dealing with. I'm going to do another postpartum in children, like using oils with your children care video. So I'll post that in the group as well coming up, but I am going to address that, just not in this particular get together today. So let's move into labor and delivery. So when you're moving into that phase, ditto on the anxiety, because that's the time when you are actually starting to labor, whether you're, at home and laboring before you're able to go into the birth center, hospital, wherever you're going to be giving birth. The anxiety is a big deal, and you're not alone in that. So consider those same oils: lavender, serenity, balance. Even wild orange can be a great support for that, because it's uplifting. And sometimes we just need to get our eyes off of ourselves for a moment and just see beyond what's feeling like a cloud kind of looming over us. So those are my favorites for anxiety in that time. Nausea can be a challenge during labor as well. Your body is doing a lot of work, manual, physical labor, which is why it's called labor. So your body's working so hard, it can really, really take a toll on the other parts of your body function. That mixed with the anxiety can cause nausea for a lot of us. So for nausea during that time, peppermint is, again, great support for that. You can diffuse it, you can apply it topically. Another great one is fennel. It kind of smells like a licorice-y, and I hate actually licorice, but fennel is super, super effective for that. So that's one that I would take and apply to the bottom of my feet and then put socks on over it. So it's not right under my nose, but my body is still soaking it up and getting the impact from it. So super effective for the nausea. Energy. Sometimes labor can last a long time. All of we as women are different. All of us are different in this, and from one child to another, it's going to be a different experience. So if you have a longer labor, or if you're laboring during the night and you haven't slept in a while, you may need just a boost at some point of energy. So peppermint is a great support for that. Wild orange is one of my favorite. Any of those citrus ones, really. So grapefruit is really energizing. Wild orange is really energizing. Lemon as well. So focus on those citrusy and that peppermint, or spearmint if that's your preference. I actually like spearmint better than peppermint a lot of the time. It's just a little bit of a gentler and sweeter scent and flavor. So consider spearmint for that as well. There's more research that's been done on peppermint. It's just more of a popular plant across the world. But both are effective. Spearmint can be great for nausea as well. So those are great supports for energy. A lot of us have back pain during labor or leading up to labor and delivery, depending on how your baby is positioned, depending on how your body is doing and handling it all. There's so many factors that go into it. But if you're having back pain, one thing that I would consider using is Deep Blue. And again, this is like during labor. So Deep Blue does have that wintergreen in it. And because that's like an aspirin effect on your body, I would wait until, you're in labor, or really talk to your doctor if you're not in labor, before you would use that during pregnancy. But during actual labor and delivery for that back pain, it's super, super effective to use Deep Blue. So Deep Blue is a blend of oils, and you can get either a pure oil blend, which is what I had used on my knee that time. That's super effective for pain relief. It was a different brand, but basically doTERRA's version of a pain relief blend is called Deep Blue. So they've got the pure oil, they have a roll-on that's pure. They also have a roll-on that's pre-diluted. So if you want to dilute it with coconut oil, especially if you're new to oils, if you have more sensitive skin, get the diluted version. It's called the Touch version in doTERRA. So Deep Blue Touch would be a roll-on that's diluted. Or they also have a Deep Blue Rub, which is basically a lotion that has the oil in it, and it's plenty potent for great pain relief, and it's super effective. So that's a great one to rub on your back during that time. Another one is marjoram, especially if your muscles are what is tired. I find marjoram is really effective for that as well. Or if all you have is wintergreen, if you have wintergreen but not Deep Blue, then break out the wintergreen, as long as your doctor doesn't tell you not to for some reason. So consider those. Another great one is actually lavender. Lavender can be really relieving to certain kinds of pain. I think wintergreen is far more effective, far more quickly. for that kind of pain in such an intense situation. But you can always mix lavender in or try it instead if you prefer it. But consider those. Lavender does have properties in it that are combative to pain. So let's see. So when you're in the process of actually getting to, when you're actually in labor, a big part of the process is needing to relax. So when you relax into the contraction, you're allowing your body to be more effective with each contraction. So if you're pushing back and tensing up during the contraction, which is a natural response to pain, your body's, it's like you're fighting against your own body. So when you can actually relax into the contraction, you're going to be more effective and probably faster in your labor and delivery. So being able to relax during your labor and delivery is a really big deal. So when I go into have a child now, now that I have oils in my life, going into your delivery room, the first thing I would do is unload your diffuser, fill it with water, and put in some relaxing oils. And I've had questions about, how do hospitals or birth centers respond to diffusing? I have never actually heard of an issue come up with someone saying that they're the hospital staff, or definitely not the birth center that I go to. They actually use doTERRA essential oils there and as their part of their practice. And Atlanta Birth Center is a really great place. I got to deliver there just for the first time with my third child because they weren't open when I had my first two children. But if you're giving birth in a hospital setting, I still have not heard of problems with it. It's not burning. You don't burn true essential oils anyway, but it's not like a burner. So there's not that risk of the heat. And it's not like a nebulizer either. So it's just simply you plug it in, you put water in, and then you drop some oil on top. And it diffuses them cold into the air. It's not heating them. So that's what I would do first thing when I arrive, for the sake of setting the tone of that environment, because you really want to just be present and have your mind right in that kind of a setting. It just really helps your labor and delivery process if you feel like you have some control over the situation and if you are relaxed into the situation. So if you can put your preferred relaxing oils, and it may be even different in that moment than it is at home, but at least if you've got your oils ready to go and to diffuse in that room, that can really help, especially in a hospital setting. It can feel just kind of cold and bright, and fluorescent lights and all of that stuff can make it less relaxing than your home environment, right? Some people have the privilege of having their children at home, and that's amazing, and that's probably the most relaxed environment you could possibly have a child in. But I was able to have 3 water births, and I'm just about to lose Instagram because they cut me off at an hour. So if you're still on Instagram, feel free to jump over to Facebook to see the rest. But and this video will live in my Facebook group, Flora Simple Wellness. That's my brand page. Sorry, it's not a group, it's a page. So come and look for me there. So join in with the rest. But I got to have a water birth with all 3 kids. My first 2 were in a hospital. There's just one hospital in Georgia that I know of that allows water birth, or that did back then. And then I had my third at the birth center, and they allowed water birth as well. So the water environment is amazing. I'd be glad to share any of my story with you if that's something you're interested in or curious about. But the heat and the water make it so much easier to move around and be buoyant and relieve pressure on your back and things like that if you get to be in water. And as a side note, if you don't get to have a water birth, because some people just aren't able to because of how the baby is positioned, or any number of factors can disqualify you legally from being able to birth in water in an institution. So that's not an option for everyone, and I totally get that. But warm, wet compresses can actually be super supportive as well. If you don't get to be in the water for that. But so anyway, setting that relaxing environment, the warmth and wet of a compress can be great for your back. If you're having back pain, you can even put, if you have like a warm, wet towel that you're using as a compress, put your drops of oil on that as well, and that's a great way to get the impact. And the warmth of a compress will help open up your pores to soak in the oil quickly and effectively as well. So that's a great way to support. Um, and also, I'll just go into, if you want to support your perineum through that, if you're not in the water, using a warm compress down there before you get to the pushing stage, but during labor, can be a great way to soften and prepare your skin to stretch. And that can help prevent tearing as well. So I've torn 2 out of my 3 times. It's just part of it for some of us. But that can actually really help support your skin and help proactively in the healing process after you go through labor and delivery. So if you're going to do that, great oils to put on would be lavender and frankincense. So that'll really help in that process as well, and minister to your skin and help just strengthen at the cellular level. Those oils will support, lavender and frankincense especially will support at the cellular level to prepare your skin to handle that in the best way possible. So that's something else. I do want to mention, I have not had a C-section, so I'm not speaking from experience in this, but if you are in a position where you end up having a C-section, for one, that can be kind of a traumatic experience, especially if you're not planning a C-section and you end up in a C-section. Having those relaxing oils supporting you. I keep looking over because I've got another diffuser right there, but having those oils already relaxing you can really help support you as you move into that phase of the process. And there's other oils that we can use also postpartum to help support you in that, both in skin and emotions. And getting back into exercise and movement after giving birth. I'll address those in our next class, and I'll announce when that will be soon. But just for immediate support, frankincense and copaiba will be the most soothing for the actual skin area that's needing to heal and repair. And then those are also great emotional supports for every emotional support we can get after labor and delivery is a great one. So that's great. And then once the skin has already scabbed over and healed and covered itself, then we can start using doTERRA's ointment, which has essential oils in it. It's called Correct-X, and it has frankincense, helichrysum, lavender, I believe, and melaleuca. I don't think it has myrrh, but myrrh is another really, really supportive oil for your skin. One reason frankincense and myrrh were both taken to Jesus, because that was the resin that they took to Jesus as gifts when he was first born, and to Mary, who was giving birth. But it's because the oil coming out of the resin was already used back then for its medicinal properties. So it's a great support in that way as well. So yeah, those are the things that I primarily wanted to go over with you guys today. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the comments. If you're watching this video back later, feel free to make a comment. I'll get a notification and I'll be glad to reach out to you. Or you can send me a private message, because again, when it comes to pregnancy, labor, and delivery, a lot of us prefer to have private conversations about that. So feel free to send me a private message. Glad to have a conversation with you about it. If you haven't gotten started with oils and you're wanting to do that, send me a message. I'd love to I can put a link so that you can browse the website, and that's great. Some people already know what they want. They've got their list. They know what they need. They know they want a starter kit because it comes at a discount. A lot of people are already in that situation, but a lot of others are not, and they want to actually talk through it. And I want to make sure that you get oils that are actually going to address the needs that you have in this season of life, for you, for your household, for your lifestyle, for your children. Some of you have a few oils but don't have others. So just send me a message. I would love to have a one-on-one conversation with you about what you need. So I will put up the links so you can browse the website if you want to, but I would also love to have a conversation with you to make sure that your individual needs are met, that you get the best price and discount for what you need. Because there's the option of a wholesale membership, which is going to give you 25% off everything from your doTERRA website for an entire year. The kits come at an additional discount even to the wholesale price, so there's different benefits that you can play with there. So I highly recommend starting with a kit when you're able to, if you're able to make that investment and willing. That'll get you the best bang for your buck. That'll get you the best price that will meet your needs in a whole lot of different ways. Because if you have the top 10 oils, you can really address 85% or 90% of the issues that will commonly come up in your household when it comes to cleaning, immune support, relaxation, digestive support, emotional support, all of those things. So it's kind of the powerhouse. That's why they have those together in a kit, and a couple of different kits you can choose from. So anyway, I would love to help you if you have questions about that. So I will post a link to the website so that, in case that's helpful to you, but please do send me a message if you want to get started. I would love to chat with you and help you make that decision in a way that's best for your family and for your budget. So I hope you all have had a Merry Christmas. I hope this is helpful to you. And I will soon post a link to the event that will be the postpartum and children session of talking about oils, because oils are super supportive. I'm 8 weeks postpartum right now, and they've been so helpful for me emotionally, physically, skin healing, down there kind of healing, and emotional support as well. So I love you guys. So glad to have you here, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your Thursday after Christmas. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.